There you go.
Oh, I love that.
Hey guys, Ben back here with KCT, home of the gun and gear reviews you can use. Recording, as always, in the Booms rooms, and home of the world famous talking hands. Now, I'm not wearing gloves, nothing fancy wears gloves. Maybe I'll do that sometime, it'd be cool, I don't know. So, I just wanted to go ahead and do a quick video here on the Hera Arms Generation 2 AR magazine, 5.56, all the good stuff. So, I had talked to Hera years ago I think when they just had the first one, through the first generation, and I kind of asked, hey, is there something you'd like to have us test? And they're like, well, yeah, we'll send it to you and you can use it for a week, and then you can buy it or send it back. It's like, well, if I'm gonna do that, I might as well just go buy it and just not have to worry about it. So like a million years later, I went actually and got one of these, found it for like $9-10 at a gun store. So I decided to take the plunge and give it a try. Now, the first thing I can say here is that this magazine, it looks weird in person. I'm, online or whatever, when you're shopping, it's real hard to see, but this plastic window here looks almost syrupy in some models. Now, those are mostly the tan ones. I do have a friend that ordered about 10 of the tan ones, just to go with kind of black and tan thing he was doing, and it looks okay, it's all right, but definitely it looks a little bit more chintzy, I think, than what they intended. So what is this? I mean, it's obviously a polymer magazine with a window, and the window is on the spine, so you have a good indication of the rounds that you have remaining. So remember also that this is essentially where the receiver is going to cut that off, so you are able to see most of the stuff all the way into the receiver as far as the rounds go. But how does it stack up versus a PMAG? So we have a Generation 2 windowed PMAG there. Now what's interesting is these holes here, those holes there and there, that is actually all the way through into the magazine. Now, my understanding is that is to allow the magazine to drain. But if you look at these, they don't go all the way through the window. Yeah, so that's my assumption. Again, I don't know, but there's no conspicuous drain holes on the bottom of this magazine anywhere. So if they are, that's probably what they're there for. Anywho, so it's pretty standard. The follower has the fake round or whatever sitting on the right hand side, so that when you go ahead and load, you're not stuck with rounds on the upper or the top left when you go to 30 rounds and get confused. If you've ever had a magazine that does that, you'll know that just sucks for loading, and it's just weird. So the follower is very, very similar to a Magpul. Again, it's all black here, where the Magpul has more of a gray coloring. The feed lips aren't quite as robust as the PMAG, and they're sharper. I think the Magpul does a really good job at making sure that those edges are kind of dehorned. They did something very, very similar in the front as far as cutting that out for the cartridges to get pushed into the barrel there. And again, we're looking at roughly the same type of body curve as the PMAG. Now, this uses 3 little support things on each side to keep that in the receiver and keep it centered, where the Magpul uses 2. I've never seen a problem with 3, 2, or anything like that, so that's neither here nor there. But the thing is that with the Magpul, I mean, there's texture. I mean, especially the M2s. The ribs are helpful, but I mean, I've put some skateboard tape on mine to give me a little bit more grip. If we go to the Hera, it's almost completely smooth. I mean, there's grip on the front and grip on the back, but we're looking at nothing on the sides there. So that either is or isn't a big deal for you. Obviously, you can put skateboard tape on there and really make it super grippy. But I also know that people out there, some of them are like, why do I have to? Why doesn't this magazine have this to begin with? So yeah, your mileage may vary on that. One of the interesting things I did notice though is that the ridges here are actually like pointed one way. So they're essentially pointed up on the magazine, and then same here. And I think that is for a couple different reasons. One, if you need to remove this from the weapon forcibly, like it won't drop free, being able to grab that and have all the sort of gripping surface pointing towards your hand as you pull that out is very helpful. And then of course, if you go up, from bottom to the top, it's just, you just kind of slide. The grip is really kind of one way. The other thing too is that if it's in a pouch, when you go ahead and grab that magazine, your fingers and such are going to be right on those ridges pulling the magazine out. So that's the reasoning I think that they would have behind that as far as why they would do that. Other than that, I mean, maybe just because Germany, I don't know. Anyways, they do have a little bit of an over insertion stop here, and that is much smaller than the Magpul offerings. But if it works, it works. One of the things that is weird, and I don't know how well this will show on screen, is that this is taller. So it's just a hair taller than the PMag, but significantly taller than the GI Mag. So why is that? Well, the PMags and other polymer mags have a floor plate that is kind of a big deal at the bottom of the thing, where the actual GI mags, you just have a thin aluminum plate and no real locking plate to lock that in there, whereas the PMag, you have your locking plate here that you can depress to push the floor plate off. So this thing goes a little bit further by recessing the takedown piece into the magazine from the side and not the bottom. So we'll take a look at this here real quick. You'll see how this pops out. I will do my best not to, shoot this across the room. That's what she said. So anyways, so what you want to do is pull this little plastic chip out, and it is not hollow, but it's been cut out so that there is a little bit of play, so that when you stick it back in there, it'll actually like press up against the inside of the magazine. So once that's out, keep your finger on the magazine bottom because spring tension, and away you go. So again, a fairly Magpulish follower. Really nothing new there. In fact, I would be surprised if they didn't license this or something else from Magpul there, because it's why reinvent the wheel if you already have something that works, and it does. But the biggest thing, of course, is the lock plate on the bottom. So there's a lot of room in here. There's the little cavity where you would put that chip there to take the floor plate down. And I'm kind of at a loss as to why they did it. I mean, they definitely went in a different direction from the PMag in saying that we're not going to make this wide. So anything that is sticking out from the bottom of this has to fall within the footprint of the mag body itself. So similar to the GI, where you don't have anything that extends to the side and the standard configuration. Everything is, again, within the footprint of the body. Now, the Magpul mag, if you noticed, the floor plate is flared, so it's much bigger than the actual magazine, much bigger than the actual imprint of the body. And some people like that because you can go ahead and use it to grab. Some people don't. I'm kind of indifferent to it. It works. I've never had a problem with it. But it seemed like Hera's designers were looking at saying, okay, we're not going to make anything stick out past the sides of the magazine. I don't know why that is. I don't know if that is something that they were asked to do, if this is something that they're trying to get a military contract for, or if it's just something they decided, let's do this and make it this way for whatever reason. The magazine is marked on the sides there. You have the 5.56 NATO right there. The other markings are the manufacturer's marks. So Hera GmbH Germany, H3 Mag 5.56 by 45, patent pending. The H3 Generation 2. And then this is left blank for an ID. So if you can put like your mag number or whatever else there. And then when we go over here, you have the website, of course, which I hate it when companies do that. I don't need your product to advertise your web presence. I need your product to be good. But HeraArms.com, there it is. This the Gen 2 magazine there, again 5.56 NATO. And then at the bottom there, it is Cal 223 Remington. And of course, on both sides it says H3T. So I guess some kind of confusing stuff because it's Gen 2, H3T, whatever. I know that these are supposedly a lot better than the original mags, and that they just don't destroy themselves the first time you look at them. And the body feels okay. I mean, it definitely does not have the flex you would think of it with not having those ribs at the PMag. But it doesn't necessarily feel awesome. Like, it's not, I don't know. Like, when we looked at the tan ones, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad I didn't buy those because they just look cartoony, and then the plastic back here has got a tannish tint, so it looks like syrup almost. So I was really kind of happy I didn't lean too far into those. When I found one of these for $10, I was like, yeah, $10 is $10. Let's try it out. So I've been using this quite a bit in the range testing I've been able to get out to. Of course, with the COOF and the shutdown orders here. Here in Michigan, it can be a little bit of a problem to go out and go shooting, but we're trying to anyways. So let me go ahead and show you how we put this back together because it is a little bit interesting. So there is a notch right there, and then there's this little back, the bottom plate has a little hook on it, and so that is going to hook into there when we press that and the spring in. So we'll go ahead and set this on the spring, and again I'm going to try to do this without shooting polymer all over the room. Okay. So I got that hooked up underneath there, and then I'm going to go ahead and take that little chip, put it in, boom, back together. So yeah, I mean, if you're looking for something different, and I like to get different and weird magazines, I definitely would say that it's interesting enough to warrant a purchase. I am not leaning too heavily into them now because, of course, PMags to me are the ultimate, really. But I do also have a lot of GI mags that I've gotten over the years. So, one of the things that people were asking too is, hey, because of the way that this is set up with a thinner body, does the original PMag or Magpul work on it? The answer is yes. Yep, it works great. I've tried it on pouches and things like that. It works wonderful. Just because the body is slim and the floor plate is slim doesn't mean that it just goes flying off. It works out really well. So, but yeah, I mean, it's a good range mag. Definitely, it's something I've been using for testing for a lot of different products and things. So if there's something wrong with it, we'll definitely find out. But I know that you can run a PMag over with a truck, and I don't know about this one. I have a feeling it would crack at some point. The GI mags, you guys already know what those are. If you run it over the truck, it's done. Heck, if you hit it with a hammer, it's done. So we'll see. I'm not into destructive testing yet, but definitely going to take a look on that and see what else is going on there. So guys, thank you so much for coming along. Definitely go ahead and like, share, and subscribe. If this is your first time checking us out, maybe this will be the day that we earn your subscription. And yeah, one thing I want to say before I go is, and I was trying to say something positive, or at least something that's interesting to me, is just get off your damn phone while you're driving. I mean, I'm guilty of this too, but there's been so many people getting in the streets because of what's going on right now that maybe they're not looking very clearly as to where they're going. I've seen people almost get run over where they just assume the driver's paying attention. The driver's, watching, hopefully not one of my videos. But anyways, just situational awareness. Get off the phone, wait till you get home, pull over, put them on speaker, call them, whatever you got to do. Just be careful, just be safe. Remember, people got families out there and you do too. So other than that, guys, that's all I got for you today. Hope you have a great rest of your day. Peace.